what Luka's doing this year is, I mean, I don't even know how you describe it.
Some of them don't play with size, they play small. And the reason I'm bringing that up is I do want to talk real quick about the Dallas Mavericks.
The Mavericks, who I think were even out of the play-in at one point or at the bottom of the play-in, are now the 7th seed. They've won 6 straight going into All-Star. They have the 10th easiest strength of schedule going forward.
So let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks. So far this year, the Mavericks have been somewhat underwhelming in the beginning part of the year, but recently they've been really ramping it up. Though they just lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers in thriller fashion, shout out to Max Strus with a 60-foot bomb game winner, and quiet just kept losing to the Cavaliers in that fashion. That's not a bad thing. The Cavs have actually been one of the better teams in the NBA. For the entire season, the Mavericks have a record of 33-25. However, in the month of February, the Dallas Mavericks have a record of 7-3, an offensive rating of 118, a defensive rating that is south of 111, which gives them a net rating of 7.5, making them one of the better teams in the NBA within this short time frame. And honestly, nobody really shouldn't be too much surprised. It's all slowly in the making. Kyrie has been in and out of lineups dealing with injuries, but he's back. They've added a very, very pivotal piece at the trading deadline, and Luka Doncic is playing some of the best basketball I've ever seen in my entire life. First, let's talk about Kyrie Irving. I believe he always gets lost in the sauce when we're talking about other great players, in large part because the league is so talented, also because he's playing a secondary role now, but also I believe because he's constantly in and out of the lineup dealing with injuries. Missed a huge part of December and even parts of February as well, but now he is back and he's looking really, really good. In the last 9 games since he's been back from injuries, he's averaging 27.5 points, giving around 5 assists, 5.5 rebounds, only turned the ball over less than 2 times with a steal, but the shooting splits is what's really crazy. 55.5% from the field, 47, almost 48% from behind the arc, and 83% from the charity stripe. Though he's only getting to the free throw line twice, the numbers are still basically speak for themselves. Easily one of the most efficient volume scorers in the NBA, great shot creator, tough finisher at the basket. And I do believe this is the frame that we should really visualize Kyrie. He went on in Boston, tried to lead a team being the first option. That didn't really cut it. And even when he's playing alongside KD, it didn't really look too great unless he was playing alongside James Harden, who was an all-time great passer and facilitator. And I do believe that's the role in which he thrives in, and it's the reason why he looks as great as he has now. And when he gets going, boy, he looking tough. He's tough out there, but he had a finish over Wemby a couple of nights ago. It was nasty. It was nasty. Having a second option like this isn't talked about enough, especially since the Dallas Mavericks were trying to look for a replacement from Jalen Brunson, who, mind you, Brunson has been balling out of his mind out in New York, but I don't believe the way he's playing right now would have been how he's playing in Dallas. And honestly, I don't necessarily know if you could have found a better replacement. And you could very well argue on any given night, Kyrie can not only reproduce what Brunson was providing to this team, but look even better. I do believe he's a better shot maker. I do believe he's a better finisher at the basket as well. Of course, offensively, I do think Brunson is he has emerged as a really, really good passer, and maybe Kyrie just isn't that. But again, that's fine. For what this team needs, they need another shot creator. You need somebody to alleviate a lot of responsibility and pressure off of Luka. Kyrie provides that, and I don't really know there's too many other players in the NBA, in particular at the guard position, that could duplicate what Kyrie gives his team on any given night when he is healthy. Now, the other main piece we got to talk about is the Daniel Gafford addition. Shout out to the young brother Derek Lively out there, young rook, 19 years old. He's doing his thing. Finally gave a lob threat to Luka, but he's 19. He's young. He makes a lot of mistakes. In the minutes in which he plays, he's very, very productive. But obviously, the Dallas Mavericks, they needed somebody else coming off of the bench. The 9 points and 8 rebounds in very limited minutes is really, really good, but we also found him like 2 or 3 times a game. That can be very questionable. So at the deadline, a very underrated pickup that the Dallas Mavericks decided to go get was Daniel Gafford. Gafford, wasting away in Washington, is a nice solid big who can rim run, put some pressure on the defense at the basket, and he's translated really well within a short amount of games he's played alongside Luka, already giving you 11 points and 9 rebounds in 20 minutes of action. This is something that this team desperately needed because, again, it adds a level of depth and nuance to their offense that they were desperately needing. Before Gafford, if it wasn't Derek Lively and basically Luka, this team did get very shot dependent, really relied on three-point shooting really to a fault, and they definitely lost games like that. It really makes it easier for opposing teams to defend them. But now, especially when defenses are trying to pressure Luka and make him make a decision, even doubling him at times near the half-court line, having a rim-running big or having somebody who's going to put the ball on the floor, attack the basket, and finish really strong is desperately needed. That was a huge pickup for the Dallas Mavericks, and people are just not talking about it enough. However, and I do mean however, because I have to talk about this, because the whole reason why I am making this video, because Luka, my goodness, it's getting out of control. control right now, bro. The things that I'm seeing from Luka literally does not make any sense. It's crazy to me to even think that I'm witnessing somebody who's playing at this level offensively. He has been miraculous, sensational, transcendent, phenomenal, very, very special talent we're watching for Luka. And I feel like over the past like month or so, this conversation's been going around about, oh, the league isn't playing defense, so that's why everything's going on. And it's like, no, that's not it. Sure, the defense can be a bit more physical. I'm all for that. I have no problem. But when you give somebody like Luka, a special offensive talent like Luka, this level of floor spacing, this many lob threats, and another shot creator alongside him, no, the results are just going to be borderline unstoppable. Like, that's basically what you're going to yield, those results. And what's crazy is, as great as Luka was last year and even earlier on this season, he somehow is getting even better. So for the season, Luka's averaging 34 points, 9 rebounds, and 9.5 assists, but the shooting splits is what really takes it over the top, because I don't think people thought we would see this type of increase in accuracy. 49% from the field, 38% from behind the arc on 10 attempts a game, and in particular, 78% from the charity stripe as well, also getting to the free throw line nearly 10 times as well. But again, it somehow has gotten better as the season has progressed, because ever since Luka scored 70 some on the Hawks, he's been going on a tear. Since that game up until last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Luka is averaging 37 points, 9.5 rebounds, 10.5 assists, nearly 2 steals, shooting splits of 53, 41.5, and 81% from the free throw line. 37 points. That doesn't make any sense. And we're talking about a 13-game sample size. So this is not like some insane little bitty 5-game sample. No, this is a sample size that consistently widens, and the numbers continue to be proven to be historic. Putting up 45 points on the Cleveland Cavaliers while recording like 13 assists or whatever he finished off with, 9 rebounds, and shooting splits of like 50, 50, 100. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm watching the game, and there's things that Luka is doing that just doesn't make any sense. It was like in the first quarter, there's a play in the first quarter where like Luka's running in transition. As he's driving in transition, he looks at the trailer behind him, which then convinced Max Strus to kind of drop down to try to intercept the pass, or at least defend the trailer cutting to the basket. And then Luka, as he looks at the trailer, picks up the ball in one hand and throws a dart at Kyrie Irving on the other side of the floor while Max Strus is sinking in to help on the trailer. Who does that? Who does those things? Or there was another play where like Luka, and it wasn't even one, like it was quite a few times where Luka did like step back threes or step back middies while being heavily contested. And for the people out there who want to sit here and say, oh, well, you gotta be more aggressive with Luka, you gotta double him more often. Yeah, they tried that. Not only do the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have athletic front court players, like both Mobley and Jared Allen are about as mobile as you can get at the 4 and 5 position. So even when they were forcing a switch, you would still believe you don't have that much of a disadvantage. No. He literally made Evan Mobley fall on the floor. You thought that he was going to shoot, but then he goes into a shooting motion and like passes it to a lob. That was crazy. Then there's another time, and really for most of the first part of the fourth quarter, they're doubling Luka at the half court line. They genuinely believed, and it was actually working for a second. They genuinely believed that it was better if they played 3-on-4 while getting the ball out of Luka's hands rather than Luka just running a regular offense, and they were still scoring pretty frequently while that was happening. So again, this goes back to this concept of like, oh, they should just be more physical. Like, even if they are being more physical, Luka is such a high IQ player, so talented, that if you have a defender who's physical on him, he's just going to switch and go get the big on him. And so when the big is on him, he's going to have an advantage. And if you decide to double him, again, when you have so much floor spacing, he's going to dump it off to the guy who set the screen, is rolling to the basket. And as a guy who's rolling to the basket, he's either going to have the leverage on the guy who's trying to retreat back in front of him, or he's going to get a quality look, or you can't even help on the strong side because you have a 3-point shooter over in the corner, so you can just stun at him, but you can't really help. Like, it's almost pointless. Giving somebody of that level, that much floor spacing, that much lob threats, another shot creator, and a Kyrie Irving level shot creator, bro, that's crazy. It's unfair, and it's unguardable. It makes it seem like it's unguardable because it really is. Oh yes, as I say all of this stuff about Luka, because this part also doesn't get talked about enough, like as a scorer, bro, Luka, I want y'all to like really understand something real quick about Luka. So I did this the other night, and I was like, yo, every single time I watch Luka, it seems like he's not missing, especially when you have that level of like accuracy and efficiency. So then I was like, all right, let me see where Luka ranks in like every zone on the floor. So in the restricted area, when bare minimum 4 attempts a game or more, Luka is converting his shots in the restricted area 76% of the time. That means he is Top five most accurate players finishing at the rim. Okay, what about that in-between game, right? The in the paint, non-restricted area, the floater, the runner, if you will, that area. In that area, Luka is 55%, which is second in the NBA with relative volume. You have to attempt at least 4 or more. He's second in the NBA, 55%, only behind Nikola Jokic. Okay, so he's second there. So now I was like, okay, what about the mid-range shot? Because Luka, as a mid-range shooter, has been impressive this season. Again, at bare minimum, 4 attempts a game, mid-range shot. Luka is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the NBA, converting his mid-range jumpers 44, 45% of the time. Okay, what about three-point shooting? Now, his corner threes are practically non-existent. He doesn't shoot that many corner threes whatsoever. So specifically above the break three-pointers, and because of the volume that Luka attempts, he's almost 10 a game, we're going to up the volume to, at bare minimum, players who attempt 7 above the break three-pointers on a night-to-night basis, right? Luka converts those shots at near 39% rate, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. 5th in the NBA. Only players above him, CJ McCollum, shout out to CJ McCollum, Steph Curry, Tyler Hero, and Tyrese Halliburton. That's it. So basically, in every area on the floor where Luka is at, he's top 10. And outside of mid-range, he's top 5 in all the other categories. That's how great of a scorer Luka has been this season. And oh yes, because this part I cannot stress this enough. For people out there who do not know, and I think this is like a talking point that many people are overlooking, Luka just turned 25 today. He just turned 25. Just turned 25 today. From every number I just said, he was doing it at the ripe age, the tender age of 24 years old. Luka might genuinely be the greatest under 25 player I have ever seen in my entire lifetime, at least offensively. Offensively, he might be the greatest under 25 player I have ever witnessed in my life. The fact that Luka just turned 25 today is crazy. That's crazy. So the Dallas Mavericks, they're harping all at the right time. I love the addition of Daniel Gafford. I love the fact that Kyrie Irving is back. He's accepting the role, and I think we all are accepting the fact that this is probably who Kyrie Irving is as a player. The three-point shooting is happening, knocking them down at a ridiculous rate from the team overall. Really, really good coaching. Shout out to Jason Kidd. Does not get enough credit. Does not get enough credit for what he's doing. But of course, it is amazing to me what I see from someone who just turned 25, 24, 25-year-old playing at the level in which he's playing at is unheard of. And people love to fight it. They want to talk about it. They want to act like they don't see what they're seeing, but we all see what we're seeing. And what we're seeing is one of the greatest offensive players the league has ever seen. That's what we're all witnessing. Appreciate it. But yo, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.